All right, the problem I have with an involuntary commitment is this. Is the example one, a mentally ill relative or person doesn't eat consistently and is malnourished as a result. Well, they're not seeing the crime that's pushed me to the blight that I'm in, and without being able to be recognized for those positions that are being pushed into, caused by a hacker who's known me very well, mind you, it just doesn't make sense for me because it's not a mental health issue. It's a criminal issue. It's very much a criminal issue. And the example too that they give is a mentally ill neighbor doesn't remember to wear clothes and walks nude around the house. Well, that's not me. And the first one isn't me either. Like I'm eating, I'm being consistent on trying to reach out here to the public, to the natural public, and see if there's anything that can be done. Because the reasons I'm explaining these things is because I don't think Michael Jackson was short of the answers to the fact of they're after him to kill him. And so, not to mention, I would be out working. I would be out working and make making fine money if I wasn't under attack in these fashions, and I have been. So it's not to mention like the murderous activity being taken place, but it's the fact that I need a criminal attorney. I need a lawyer to provide legal assistance in the fact of it being it keeps being a system in my life that's not allowing me to be me, and it's progressively on purpose. These people don't have God. They don't have God at all, and the things that they're doing and getting away with is an atrocity over life. Even running to get state aid signifies that I'm unable to do the things that I was doing and was working on when it's just not the case. The case is that you can't break out of a plot of murder, and especially if that plot of murder is like protected. All systems involved that could protect me are not choosing to protect me. They're choosing to make it anything other than what it is. And it's very hard to know what to do in this situation because any diagnosis that's suggesting disability isn't what isn't what I'm after. I'm after creating a very formidable network, much like a Facebook, except it pays people and in immense ways, like multiple ways it pays you, and it pays off to be a part of. And so I'm being stifled basically because the hacker or whoever's been able to know where I'm trying to move to is stifling me in every aspect that they can to not allow me to even go to work on a thing like that or to even go to work regularly, like at a regular job anywhere. And so for any diagnosis, it's not even like it's not even appropriate. Like to shake the claim that I'm depressed without really seeing that there's assholes behind this is not a mental health issue. It's not a your brain isn't working right. You have a chemical imbalance in your head. No. You are you're otherwise being pushed by a bunch of assholes and you have an asshole around that's not allowing you to your voice. And then if you're trying to get your voice heard, the only thing that it's going to do is piss these people off. And so people have to see that it's hard to speak out in this situation in the first place, it's hard to just uh, collaborate to with my work, or to be have a collaborative effort with the work that I put in with my writing and stuff like that, to even suggest that it has depths of evil that it goes to. But what I'm trying to bring out in the world is an honest way of charity, because with where I've been, there's not been any honesty. There's not any honesty in the shelter. There's not any honesty in being able to stop a, like the building code that was broken. These things change your life. They don't allow you to what you are otherwise working on, and if that can't be seen for what it is, then I don't know what else to tell you. But when you have mice and rats running around your house, and you have to deal with that instead of working on anything that has to do with you, you only have so much limited time already to be home, and then your home life is being ruined in a progressive fashion. That's to suggest it's being done to you on purpose and with intent. It's being done to create that full stop in your life, that you have to create a plan to attack these things that are happening to you, and still yet be able to try and work on anything that is of you before you can get to bed, or do whatever you're going to do for your day or your night, finish your night out and go to bed. But the fact of the matter is that I need to be made whole from many avenues, many areas of my life. And I'm not even allowed to the system that it's supposed to be there to protect when it comes to, just income that you're not able to get to. I worked the hours, I put in the time, I put in the effort, and I'm not being paid. So that tells me it's a Department of Labor and Industries case, and they just dropped the case. So again, I'm not left with justice. Same thing with Unity Hospital. I go in there for the extraction of a said kidney stone. I passed it that morning and I said, I'm fine. I don't want to go through this procedure. They put me through that procedure anyway, just based on the fact that I had health care from the state. If I didn't have health care from the state, they would have let me go, because their government wouldn't have been paying for their procedure. And then, because their government was paying for the procedure ever since, like, my my private parts have been messed up, and it's hard to talk about because it's not something that you want to think happened to you, but it is. And if I could bring that to courts, I mean, what is that worth? Winning a case that they didn't have right to do what they did. They just did it anyway. And it fucked me up. It fucked me up since then for life. And so I'm sorry, I just don't see that there's a recourse of action I can take when I'm bringing these things out. I'm writing places, I'm writing attorneys, lawyers, I'm writing news outlets, I'm writing everybody, trying to get help with the blight that's being pushed upon in my life, and I'm just being ignored. I'm being ignored from every single aspect that is there to suggestively be a help in situations like this. Well, they're not helping me, they're hurting me. And the reason that they're hurting me is by ignoring a person with that kind of devastation and detriment going on in their life. They're legit pushing you to the brink. And I think that brink, to leave a person to all of that, to leave a person to the brink, is the crime. It's not like I'm not sitting out here reaching out for help for ages upon ages now and getting nowhere. But it's a fact that I'm unable to get these things heard for what they are. And I'm sorry, it's not just myself. It's not just me that people are seeing like, oh, this is all he can do. I would have, without these hacks going on, I probably would still be somewhere working. Who knows? That's just it. Maybe I have a wife and 3 kids, and I'm a multi-millionaire, and I'm doing my charity, and I'm really upsetting people. based on the fact that I'm working in an area that they just don't want me working in. And it doesn't even matter that I want to work in charity, or I want to fix charity and stop these offshore accounts from being able to, like, what in the fashion of American lives are they working in charity for? They're not. And so I just keep on trying to figure out like how to move forward. And it's just the fact that, like, even when you are said to have, like, okay, if you're coming out with the fact that this person in your life was just plotting to premeditatedly murder you, and that these things are taken the most serious when it comes to the police activity, well, then why am I not able to report it? Why is it moving me into a health crisis where it's like a mental health crisis when there's not a mental health crisis? You see what I'm saying? Instead of me being able to move myself out of the trap that is being set up on me, it's to take away the availability of me being socially responsible to what is happening to me. And instead of being socially responsible and taking into account that, just me coming up online and speaking out and stuff like that is showing that I'm taking accountability for the things that have been happening to me, where the outlets and the resources that are even there to suggest that they have the power to take these people to court or to get you what you're owed. You put in time and effort, and you have legitimate man hours that from years ago are not being paid to you. And by the time that if I was able to get just what's owed to me there, it's not enough, because you don't get to do that to somebody. You don't get to do that to people, and it's illegal. And then it's on top of that, it's illegal to overlook these things. And just instead of allowing a person to report what they are saying happened, it's to not take it into account that there's anything to report at all. And it's not a criminal matter then. It's a mental health matter, and that's the only thing that they're looking to create. And what it does is it leaves you further to the brink in the situation that you're in, and it leaves you looking further unstable or unstable. And it's just the fact that they create that instability. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if you're being ignored in your plight over and over and over, it's going to leave you to feel like you're shredded up, you don't have anything left. But the fact of the matter is that the instability that you show is nothing of yourself. It's nothing of your own doing. The instability that you show is definitely being created by leaving you to the brink, by leaving you in the situation without actually having the laws that they write, the many, be able to protect the singular law that it's supposed to protect, the law of love. And if we don't have that in this country, which I haven't felt like we've had since I was born. Before that, it's like a world that's gone sick and rogue before I even was a person. And so, no matter what I keep doing as far as the systems are concerned, it's just to keep you in that loop, to keep you in that system. And I'm trying to rather break out of that system, because I not only feel like I have the power of assertion to be able to do such things, but I also believe that I have the ability to do those things even from right here, without going and delivering and putting myself into a situation where some paid merc or some paid perpetrator of a crime can come and put a chemical on me and I'm dead, and no one says anything. No one would even see it as that. I even think the coroners and the autopsy, if there was anything discovered, It would just be, well, we overlook this, and like it always is with other people's cases, and you're literally left without any choice to decide to for yourself how you want to move forward, other than just, well, I want to move forward in my life. I'm not being allowed to my own life, and then by my not being allowed to life, it's left me to the brinks, and then because I'm left to the brinks, then it's like, well, now we go up and touch him up. I feel absolutely raped. I feel like my whole life has been absolutely raped by the ways that people are working in iniquity over my life, thinking that they eventually are going to create absolution, they're going to eventually kill me, and they're eventually going to get away with it. That's exactly what it suggests, because that's exactly what's been happening in the world. So I was just thinking about ways that I could speak out online about a few things that might help, and that maybe putting something together, like even considering like how my dad's treated me growing up, how things were when I was growing up, like the things that I would black out even and not even remember, how they might help me simplify the case that I have for my whole life. That my whole life needs to be made whole based on the satanic ritual abusers that are doing these things to me, and with power, with all the power in this world to move in that way. And so I'm praying against it. I'm using Jesus' name in prayer and in my set decrees and the spiritual battlefield that has been staged up in my life. And that every single time, somehow, Jesus protects me. But the fact of the matter is I don't want to be constrict or taken away from my own availability to work in life and to do what I would otherwise be doing today, to just be murdered. And then when I'm putting it together as far as like that's how these people are moving, well then how can I get out to the natural public that these things are happening to me without the natural public thinking he's just crazy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He wasn't led to the brink like he's saying. He could have gone to work, and that the chemical reprieve wasn't chemical reprieve, and that those two poisoning him up just sound nutty. When I mean, you can look on cases of unsolved mysteries even, and or maybe not unsolved mysteries, but you can find cases where like people legitimately thought that that person wasn't telling the truth, and that they end up dead, and that everyone knows after the people are dead that that's what happened. Everybody. And if you don't know those things, then you're not thinking things through. You're not looking at the whole of the sort situation. You're not getting into the depths of the nuts and bolts and how this crime can take place and take over a person's life. And so, just a few things about that is that with my growing up, sure, there was things that were messed up in that way. And then I wholeheartedly forgive people for not knowing like how not knowing like how do you put that? I forgive people for being born into a situation that they really didn't have any control over. But what I have a problem with is like you need to know people's hearts and where people's hearts are at for you. And with how I was treated, even as a kid, it's as simple as that, that these things aren't your decision. And people need to understand that people deserve to have two parents in their life that care about them and want to see them grow. And without that, and on top of it, then you're like being you're like staged as a perfect candidate for a person to move on your life in that way, and you're hacked and you're hijacked. You're unable to get to the places that you need to get to, but you're not able to see these things for what they are. You just know that they're happening to you, and you don't know. You don't know who it's coming from. You don't know where it's aimed at from, and you're left to like figure it out. And what I was figuring is just like it's just the system. It's just systematic ruin. And I mean, it still could be. As far as where I'm concerned, I can't put it past myself that with how this man moved wasn't just evil on his own accord evil. I think that there's I think there's more to the story than meets the eye. And that me coming out with that is honestly constricting these people to like not allow me a system that's to protect me in said given crimes that I'm bringing out. And instead, they're just turning every single one of them, into a mental health situation. And it's simply not the truth. And if it's not, and if it's the truth that I need to go in for a psych evaluation and they have no reason to touch me up, then how do you put it? I believe wholeheartedly that they want to touch me up and they want to rape me and get me away from my life, get me away from being able to speak out. And so I won't be allowed. That's my fear. I won't be allowed to get out. And then the things that are just happening there, these people aren't godly people. These people aren't working for the Lord. They're working for the world. And right now the world is just decrepit as fuck. When it comes to these crimes, there's people that we just don't know who are involved in these things. Still to this day. Sure, like there's like people are in the know that these things exist now, but there's still people out there that are definitely on the run and trying to cover up their tracks. And so much so that they need to mirror their own I don't know, they basically need to mirror their own way they want to push upon you as if it's you. Their actions are you. See what I mean? What they're willing to do over your life is you and you alone. It had nothing, in other words, it had nothing to do with the hacking. It had nothing to do with the identity theft. It had nothing to do with him aiming at every single aspect of my life, aiming to take away my life, poisoning me up just so badly so that if I had known the attack and I had seen the attack, or if I had felt that attack coming from him 4 hours later or however many hours later it took, I'm like really trying to hold on to that thought. And it goes, and you're back to autopilot, and you look like a wreck. You look like the perfect person that would be said schizophrenic or whatever. But I know for a fact that my body would be more full. I would be stronger, and I mean, I had plans to go out and rollerblade, and it was just stopped for me to even be able to do that right before the worst poisoning attack happened. And then right after that poisoning attack happened, then I'm going out to work and I'm having I think it was a chemical attack. Like I read cyanide and it's really scary. You guys, like I just read these things and I'm trying to find the answers, but I think I have. And then like the police and everything aren't even suggesting that a person dealing with that length of crime, 30 years or 29 years of criminal activity that's being taken over your life. Like I'm not able to discover a thing based on what? The fact that I was poisoned up? I think that's exactly what was stopping me from being able, like years ago, having my journal. Having that journal be proof as far as if I was just able to speak these things and read my story out here, people would get it. People would understand. But when it's just contrite with the systems that you're not able to even get justice, you're not able to get your money, you're not able to get the time back that they're now constricting away from you because it's to leave you in that brink, and it does. It leaves you in that brink, and all of a sudden they come up and touch you all up. and they take you away from who otherwise you would be. And then once you're in that, it's like a domino rally effect. What happened with when it happened with me, I ended up in a holding cell, ended up going to my brother's, ended up on a 72-hour hold, ended up homeless. And in all of those areas of my life, I'm being eradicated. Legit. Covert mechanisms used to take against me to murder me. These people don't want me speaking out. These people don't want me rolling with a million people into the into the into the crusts of our earth to go save children, to go get these children out of cages. But if I can't fight for that, I don't know what else is more important. And nothing in this world I think should be more important to everyone out here. Everyone. Because it's the truth. When one person is pushed into duress, you should all be in duress for that person, with that person. And the reason I say that is because if our prayers are to come together in a concerted effort, well, those are the things that can actually change the course of history here. And so that's what I've been calling people to do, is to get on that same page, and if it's not making sense, keep trying. Keep trying. Get on that same page for your prayer values, as this is the only way that we're going to actually change these things. But someone treated me as bad as that growing up, being that it came from my own father. And my understanding is that I was forced out of myself to even be able to speak as a child because of things that were happening to me. I remember I was really young and I had this really really awful feeling going on in my body, and and everyone just ignored me. Everyone, like, they just, or maybe they didn't ignore me, but they didn't understand. And how could I explain something happening to me on that level at that age when I'm like, when you're dealing with that kind of abuse, and it's like you're forced to not be able to feel for yourself. You're forced to not be able to speak for yourself. And so it's just people don't understand these things because they don't want to. And so I've already went through hell in this. I don't want to go back to that, you know. I've already went through hell with this. I don't want to go back to that, because when I was in that place, and I legitimately thought like that people should be saving this lady's life. They were just using it. They were just using it to push people into that place where they would just be able to mismanage you that much more. You're already being mismanaged. And you know it. You feel it. You sense it. But you're not allowed to that truth, because these people are hoity-toity. We didn't go to school for nothing. We know what we're talking about. And it's just not the truth, you guys. It's not. I don't know what a person's got to do to get out of this kind of urban blight, but moving forward means I have to somehow work. And when I'm not even being allowed to continue in my work, these things are criminal intentions that are being taken over me in my life. And so it's just the basics that I'm having problems with, like where the blight that's being added on to me in a progressive fashion is I'm trying to fight. I'm trying to fight with all due diligence included, and keeping myself baseline, keeping myself calm, keeping myself regulated. And even if I'm fasting here and there, it's because I want to make sure that I have food later. And so I'm not starving myself. I'm working to try and ask for charity now. For myself, when I was first coming out asking for charity, it was to get a mission started and a movement started, that I could work in social experiments with people that are homeless, that are on drugs, and I could help work them to not be on drugs. I could help work them to get excited about life again and to not do those things. And look, even if they backfire, even if they go backwards. If they chose to go forwards just one day, then you can get them to go 2, and you can help them to go 3. And if you get them to go 4 on their own, that's maybe all they need to really be set on fire. And right now, the war on drugs is not to keep people off drugs. The war on drugs is definitely to get people on them. And so I'm just trying to be progressive about the blight that's been added to me in my life, and yet somehow I'm being constricted into a person that I'm not. I'm constricted in my work life, I'm constricted on my computer, I'm constricted in my own home, based on the fact that I just got this bed after legitimately, years and years of not having a bed. I don't even want to count how many years. But it was fucking hell. Not having your own home, not having your own roof over your head, not having your own peace, dealing with people that just don't give a fuck about life, liberty, or justice, or joy, or happiness at all. Oftentimes you're pushed upon people that are just gonna rather want to push you into that blight further, get you on drugs, and you just maybe feel so much doubt inside of yourself that maybe you do. But don't. If there's anybody out there that's feeling that way, don't. Don't break. Don't go and do drugs. Stop doing drugs. And choose to continue to do the right thing no matter how hard pressed you are. No matter what. Because these are the things that I believe can change your life and take full course of your life to be able to move forward. So I'm going to continue this message until the next one. I hope you guys are paying attention, and God be with all of you. In these coming of days, we don't know what we're faced up with, all right? So stay safe.